Right, so let's look at this question. We have been told the item's price is rupees 120,000. So the price of the item is 120,000. If you are buying by paying cash outright, but this customer is not paying cash outright, what is he doing? He is going for a hire purchase scheme. So he is initially paying 40,000. So the initial payment, the down payment, the initial payment, or we also call that as the down payment. The down payment is rupees 40,000. So then what's the remainder he got to pay? What's the remaining amount he has to pay? The remainder he has to pay is the remainder, or the balance is from rupees 120,000. When you subtract 40,000, what's the remainder? That's 80,000. He's supposed to pay 80,000 more to the shop. So let's see how Sumin is going to pay that, make that payment of 80,000. He's going to pay in how many installments? We have been told it is told that the rest of the payment he is going to make in 2 years at an annual interest rate of 12%. Right. So here it hasn't been told he is making a monthly payment or monthly installment, but normally when it comes to Oliver's, if they say reducing balance, it implies that Sumin is going to pay monthly. He is going to cover this 80,000 of loan by making monthly payments. So per month, remainder is 80,000. How much should he got to pay per month? What is the loan amount? Loan amount he has to pay. Loan amount Sumin has to pay per month. That is rupees 80,000 divided by number of months. Since he's taking 2 years to make the payment, 2 years, how many months are there in 2 years? There are 24 months. So what's the loan amount he has to pay per month? That is 80,000 divided by 24. Now remember, the answer you get by dividing 80,000 by 24 is just only the loan amount, that is without the interest. Now how do we calculate the total interest Sumin has to pay under this hire purchase scheme? So total interest is equal to, I guess most of the students are used to the simple interest formula, that is PTR over 100. We can use the same thing to calculate the total interest under reducing balance method. That's P, principal, times time multiplied by the interest rate. But unlike in simple interest questions, for P, you don't put the total loan amount. You don't put the total loan. What do you put for P here? The principal, the loan amount he's supposed to pay per month, for a month. How much is that? That is 80,000, the total loan, divided by 24. That's the P, the principal. And what's the time? Now, not like simple interest questions, when it comes to reducing balance questions, the time is not just number of months. There is a special measurement called month units. Now, how do you calculate the number of month units? Number of month units. When it comes to reducing balance questions, we have a special measurement called number of month units. Now, how do we calculate the number of month units? That is, you got to use the triangular number formula. What is it? N times n plus 1 divided by 2. The formula which you have learnt in grade 8 to calculate triangular numbers. So in this question, what is n? The number of months is taking to settle the loan. How many months is he taking? He is taking 2 years, which means 24 months. It is, so n is 24. It's 24 times, what's inside the brackets? 24 plus 1. N plus 1 means 24 plus 1 divided by 2. That's the number of month units. Or in other words, if we simplify this, what do we get? That's, so the number of month units is going to be what? 24 times, between brackets, what's there? 24 plus 1. What is 24 plus 1? That's 25. So 24 times 25 divided by 2. That's the number of month units. So in the place of time, you write that. The number of month units. 24 times 25 divided by 2. What is the interest rate? What's the interest rate? You have been told the interest rate is, the shop is charging an interest of 12% per annum. So 12% per year. So that's, how do you write 12% in the fraction form? That's 12 over 100. But this 12 over 100 is for an year. But look at what we have put here for P. We are taking the amount Sumin is paying per month. So which means the interest rate has to be month. If it's 12% per year, how do we convert 12% interest rate for a month? Multiply by 1 over 12. Why do we multiply by 1 over 12? Because a month is 1/12 of an year. Oh, an year has 12 months. So if it's 12% per year, what is it going to be for a month? It's 1%. 12 over 100. When we divide 12 by 12, it's 100. When we divide 12 by 12, it's 1. Right? Right. Now, it's a matter of cancelling the things which we can cancel. So we can cancel this 24 with 24. And we can cancel this 12 with 12. And we also can cancel the 2 zeros here with the 2 zeros here. So what are we left with now? We have 800 times 25 divided by 2. We also can cancel 2 has 1 2 and 800 has how many 2's? 400 2's. So what do we have now? 400 times 25, which is rupees 10,000. So what does that mean? To get the ownership of this item, this person has to pay 10,000 rupees extra. So the original, the outright, if it's a cash, if he's buying using cash at once, he has to pay 120,000. But because he is going for the reduce imbalance method, since he is doing a higher purchase, he has to pay 10,000 extra, which means altogether he has to pay 130,000. Right. But the question is, in the question they are not asking us to find the total amount he has to pay. That's not the requirement. What they are asking is something else. So let's go further. So this is the first step. As the first step, we calculated the interest Sumin has to pay under the hire purchase scheme. What is the interest he has to pay? 10,000 bucks. All right. Now let's go further and see what's happening. What are they saying? They're saying Sumin had, so let me take this to the next page. What is Sumin doing with the money that is left after making the down payment? It is said here, accordingly he paid 40,000 from the money he had and proceeded to buy the goods under the reducing balance method, and the remaining money. So what's the remaining money? 120,000 is the item's price and he had the full amount. But though he had 120,000, he didn't pay all 120,000 at once. How much did he pay? What is the down payment he made? He made a down payment of 40,000. What's remaining in his hand? The remainder is 80,000. He has 80,000 rupees in his hand after making the down payment. Now, what is he doing with this 80,000? He's going to a bank and depositing this 80,000 in a fixed deposit. In a fixed deposit which pays a compound interest of 12% per year. Right. So let's see. And for how many years is he depositing his money? For a period of 2 years. So let's see the total interest he is going to get by depositing this 80,000 in the bank. First we'll calculate the interest for the first year. Interest for the first year. Now this is something he's getting. So interest is getting for the first year. Interest is getting. Who's getting? Sumin is getting. So let's say interest Sumin getting. Interest Sumin gets for the first year. So what's the formula? PTR, principal times time times the interest rate. What's the principal? How much is he depositing in the fixed deposit? 80,000. So that's P. And what's the time? We are calculating the interest for the first year. It's just 1 year. Times, what's the interest rate? That's 12%. The bank is paying an interest of 12%. So 12 over 100. Now mind you, now here we are taking the time as years. So then the interest rate should be in years. So just 12 over 100. That's the interest rate for the year. So how much is this? We can cancel the 2 zeros here to 2 zeros here. So we get 8,000, rather 800 times 12, which is rupees 9,600. Right. So this is the interest is getting for the first year. Then let's see what is the interest is getting for the second year. Interest Sumin gets for the second year. Now once again it's PTR, principal multiplied by time multiplied by rate. Now what's the principal? Now since this is a compound interest calculation, what's going to be the interest, what's going to be his principal for the second year? It's compounding. So 80,000 was the initial principal, but to that this first year's interest will get added when we are doing the calculation for the second year. So what is his principal for the second year? 80,000 plus the 9,600. That is 89,600 times, what's the time period? We are calculating the interest Sumin gets for the second year, for 1 year's time period. Mind you, here what we are doing, the calculation what we are doing here is not for the entire 2 years, only for the second year, right? We are doing year by year. And what's the interest rate? That's 12%. So then the 2 zeros here get cancelled with 2 zeros here. Now we have 896 times 12. When we multiply 896 by 12, what do we get? We get 10,752. So what is the total interest Sumin is getting? Total interest Sumin gets. For the first year, he got an interest of 9,600. For the second year, he got an interest of rupees 10,752. So when we add these two, we get the total interest Sumin will get from the bank. How much is he going to get? Let's add. That's 20,352. This is the total interest Sumin gets. And what is the total interest Sumin is paying? While ago, in the first step, we found out that. So, in the first step, we found out the total interest Sumin is paying is 10,000 bucks. So, let's take everything to one page now. The total interest Sumin paying. Sumin paying to where? To the shop. To the place where he bought the item. So total interest Sumin paying is 10,000. And what is the total interest Sumin is getting from the bank? The fixed deposit he did. We already calculated that in the second step. That is 20,352. What's his gain? What's the advantage or what's the gain? How much has he earned? What is the extra amount he is earning by using that 80,000? What's his gain? What's Sumin's gain? Sumin's gain is 20,352. That's what the interest he got minus what is the interest he's paying? 10,000. So his gain is 10,352. So he is better off by 10,352. So that's what the question is asking, right? Okay, the question is asking by how much is, what is the advantage Sumin gets by doing the hire purchase and using the remaining money deposit it in a fixed deposit. So what's the advantage? Here Sumin has got 10,352.